Head coach of the Orange, brought to you every week by Oswego County Mutual. Adrian Autry joining us now. Coach, back from a very difficult road trip. How you doing today, first and foremost?
I'm doing fine. Just getting ready to attack these Cavaliers, get our teams prepared, trying to get ready for practice. So, moving ahead.
All right, we'll certainly ask you about Virginia and what awaits next week at the ACC tournament. I do want to start you with, we had your boss on a little bit earlier. We had John Wildhack on. He gave you a vote of confidence and said you're absolutely coming back next year and that you guys have talked and, there's a mutual understanding what the expectations are for next year. I guess, can you speak to, number one, getting the vote of confidence from John Wildhack and how you feel going into next year and the expectations that you'll have to meet?
I think, obviously, this is, everyone is disappointed, myself, my staff, obviously I understand the disappointment, and the expectations that we had, and they didn't, come to fruition this year, but to be able to, sit down and talk with John and we both understand, moving forward, what we need to do. We both are committed to it. Means a lot, and I think in today's environment, I think you're going to have a little bit of patience when you get in certain situations like this, because this is changing and it's not, it's just a little different. And I think the programs that have a little bit of patience, and obviously you're not lowering your standard, not saying that you don't have to, stress your disappointment. I think, those guys and those programs will win out in the long run. I just do it because I think, the climate that we live in today, everyone is, everything is microwave, everything is fast. And if this is not this is not that, hey, let's, and next thing you know, you're running into, you can never get no continuity going. So I think, that's a big plus. We know, what needs to be done, and everyone is committed, from, John Wildhack on down to me and my staff. And so, we're looking forward and we're going to push forward. We're going to finish this season out and keep fighting like we have been. And we're going to keep that same fight and move on until next year.
I don't want to harp on next year too much because I know you're getting ready for Virginia. There's still games to be played this year. But, we've asked you about this before, but I feel like we need to ask you again because, there's a lot of chatter about next year at this point. It seems like you and those we've talked to at the university feel like this program is in a better position right now to handle the offseason than maybe it was in the past. Can you just speak to that, I guess, with whenever the season ends, whether it's next week, whenever it is, do you guys feel like you're ready to attack this offseason the way that it needs to be attacked? Absolutely.
I think, obviously, I made some additions and with the staff this year. I hired in Alex Klein as our general manager. We have, personnel to be prepared for this. And again, it's a lot because you have to be prepared for every situation. And I think it's needed, as coaches, we're in the season, we trying to, win games, get our guys better. And, as soon as the season's over with, within, 10 or 12 days, you have to be ready for this portal. And, I think hiring and having the right staff and being able to be prepared for that, I feel very confident, moving forward in that situation, in this off season, the portal season, whatever you want to call it, we are way better prepared than we were last year.
Coach, you've been up double digits in your last 4 games and only won one of them. Why can't this team close out games? What have you seen?
Paulie, it's to put it in a nutshell, it comes down to the end, right? Like everyone, the last couple of possessions, but there's so many things that happen before that. And, you come up, you miss a box out or, unforced turnover that leads to something. We get fouled offensively and we don't finish and make an and one, and then we go up and we miss a free throw, and then when we foul on the other end, the team makes the and one. They're getting 3 points. Maybe sometimes you miss a box out, turnover. It's been when it comes down to it, I call it is plays that need to be made. We're coming up short right now. We made them versus NC State. and it was early, and like again, no one would really equate to that, but it was early. It was a couple of out of bounds plays, and we stood our ground, and we let those guys know that it wasn't going to happen, and I thought that changed the trajectory of the game. In particular the SMU, I thought we battled. I mean, that's a very good team, and offensively, and I thought it was probably one of our better defensive performances, all year, and then at the end, I thought the difference was, they made some shots to get them back in it, and we didn't make the shots that we needed to make to keep extending that lead and continually putting pressure on them.
Coach, you mentioned it comes down to a box out here, a play there. What went into your thinking to not have a center in the game at the, and have Peter in the game at the end of the SMU game when the tip-in happened?
Well, we knew that they were going to go to a ball screen, and, they have been ball screening, and, we wanted to have someone in there that can get out there quicker and try to, step and get back. And that was the thinking. We had, our front court had some trouble in the ball screens. So we wanted to go with a quicker lineup out there. And so that was why we did that. Again, everybody can second guess everything. If it works out, it's great. If it's not, but again, what I had seen in my feelings, we knew that they were going to go to some type of ball screen action because they didn't have their big out there. They had their smaller, quicker guys out there. So we just thought that was the best lineup to go with.
JJ, 3 for 17 from the field in that game, 1 for 10 from 3. Kind of a two-part question. Number one, any particular reason for his struggles in that game? And then I guess secondly, as a coach, he's your best player. You want the ball in his hands. It was a night where, he just didn't have it. At what point do you, I don't want to say turn the page, like you want him to stay involved, but at what point do you think about maybe putting the ball in somebody else's hands? And I realize it's a difficult decision to make because he is your best player. Was that a thought of maybe go away from JJ and go to somebody else down the stretch of that game?
Yeah, we did. We tried to. We went into Jair. We went into Eddie. I thought JC, again, was, the ball was kind of in his hands. And a lot of the shots that happened were because of, rotation, ball movement. And, I thought JJ got a couple of open looks, and I thought when he drove, he kind of came up short. But, the one thing about it is, JJ is one of the best guards, in our league and in the country. And, just as well as he can miss one or two, he can heat up and make 2 or 3. So, I'm going to go with my best player every time. I stick with my best players. I stick with the guys that I have, that have shown me and have done it. And, again, I thought JJ, again, he didn't have the best out, shooting, but I thought, he could attack the rim a little bit more, but everything that we did, in that game, the shots that he came, it wasn't, us giving him the ball. It was really more, we went somewhere and they doubled and we got the, ball movement.
Is some of this mental right now, Coach, with the players in a close game down the stretch, when they've had a big lead in that, and we heard this from Felicia Leggett-Jack yesterday. They blew a big lead. I don't know if you saw that. They were up 19, and they ended up losing. And she said in her post-game interview that, they were up double digits still, and she could see in her own players' eyes kind of like, uh-oh, here we go again. Are you feeling that a little bit with your players, that maybe there is a little bit of mental fatigue, or maybe like PTSD, for lack of a better term, that when you go through it a time or two, that when it starts to go downhill, the players feel like they can't stop it? Are you seeing that at all?
No, I don't see that with our guys. I really don't. Our guys are, I give this team a lot of credit. They have fought. Especially this last month and a half. This last month, starting from Carolina, we've been in so many close games, 4-point games, 5-point games, 1-point games, and been up and tied or, whatever it may be. And I think they've, I don't think, and I haven't felt that. We go into every game confident. We walked out of that last time out like, hey, let's get this stopped. And no one was, wavering. No one had a look in their eyes. And we knew exactly, hey, if they score, let's take it out quick. This is what we're in. Get it to JJ on a run. Everybody else, run your lanes. So we knew what we wanted to do. And I think we're well prepared. I think these guys, they keep fighting. They keep battling, man. And in this environment, and when the kind of you like you said, you go through those things. You can see that. I have not seen that.
Looking ahead now to this next opponent, you've got one regular season game left, and then it's on to the ACC tournament down in Charlotte. What do you make of Virginia? And what impresses you the most? What's the biggest challenge in facing the Cavs coming up on Saturday?
Man, I tell you what. I mean, obviously they had some transition, and I think when you look at this team, that transition, it took some time for those guys to recover and kind of get everything back on. But they've been playing about as good as basketball as anybody in our league. They just kind of went through that transition period. Really solid team, one of the better offensive teams. Defensively, we know, Virginia's deep. They're very good. But team that's playing about as well as anybody else in our league. That's not in the tournament race or tournament picture, but it's a team that can easily go to our ACC tournament and run the table. I think they got that much talent. They got guys that can make plays. They got inside. McNeely is one of the better two guards in our league, so they have a ton of talent. Really, really good team. The record doesn't indicate how good this team is.
It's also senior night. It used to be, seniors. It would be an emotional night. Guys who'd been there 3, 4, maybe 5 years. Very emotional night. Now a lot of it is you're honoring guys who have been with you for 7, 8 months. Whatever the case may be when you're talking transfers. Is it different now? Like, does it feel different for the coaches and the players? Senior night doesn't have maybe the same emotion or significance, I guess, attached to it that it has in the past?
Well, I think when everyone gets to this time of the season, I think like anything that the players that have been in your program for multiple years, I think you're going to see some emotion from coaches because of what we're in now, right? Like you're saying, each year it could be somewhat different. In particular this year, the guys that we've brought in that are seniors, it will be emotional for me because no matter what, this has been a challenging year, and not once have I said I don't want to go in the gym and be with these guys. And these guys have not once came in and not have the right mindset. And, obviously this was their first year here and their only year here. And this is their experience. And I just, this is a great group of young men, and I just wanted their experience to be so much better than what we experience as far as the winning and losing. But a great group of guys. I wouldn't want to be with another group of guys than these group of guys right here, because they, again, we've come up short. We come up short, but these guys come into work every day, and they have a great mind. They have a great mindset. And so, I will be a little bit emotional because this group right here, this has been a long year for us.
Coach, I asked this to John Wildhack as his final question. I'll ask you. There is a perception among fans that this year has been okay with you, John Wildhack, and the university. What do you say to those people? Has this been okay with you?
What do you mean? I'm
like the record of this year's team.
That we're okay with this record?
Yeah.
No way. No way. Like, what is there to be okay with? You know what? Sometimes I think these people or whoever calls in or whoever has these questions, like, no one, that has went to the school, graduated, played here, could imagine or want, and I'm now here running a program to be happy with 13 wins or 12 wins or whatever it is. Right? Like, what are they talking about? What's okay? We understand, again, I want to win more than anybody else. I feel like I'm letting the whole, my alumni, former players, our fan base. I was a part of great teams, here. So again, this is, weighing on me more than anybody else. I bleed orange. I raised my family here. I brought my family here and raised them here. They bleed orange. So, I think that's probably the most disappointing thing is when people say things like that. And John Wildhack is an alum as well, and he's on his job. Everybody wants to be good at their job. Everybody wants success at their job. and especially what we're in, the business that we're in, and what this means to this community, this fan base, this brand. Like, who would be okay with this? No one. Everyone's fighting tooth and nail to get this thing right, to get it back, and I know we're going in the right direction. I know it's going to change. I have no doubt about that.
One more regular season game, 8 o'clock Saturday night inside the Dome, Syracuse, Virginia. Then it's on to the ACC tournament. Coach, we do appreciate the time. Best of luck Saturday, and we'll chat with you again next week.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right, you as well. Adrian Autry, brought to you every week by Oswego County Mutual. And with that, we'll hit a timeout. Phone lines open for one segment, and then we've got Matt Park coming your way at 1:30. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.